afternoon, friends and colleagues of ISPA. This is really very moving. I'm not used to being on this side of the stage because, like many of you, I'm used to being front of house, in the wings, and so forth. This is a beautiful sight. And I'd like to say that there may not be very many people at all who knew the founder of this organization, Patrick Hayes, but I think I can say that he might be the first person, or if he were around, to be delighted to see so many new faces and so many young faces and one or two new generations of members of this organization. So, who am I? Why am I here? I'm a colleague. I've worked in the performing arts for now over 50 years. Music, theater, dance, opera, and organization, producing, and so forth. I'm American. I was born in Washington, D.C. Most of my professional years have been in Europe so far, but working with festivals and organizations all over the place. I grew up with ISPA, very specifically, because I was born the year before ISPA was, and my father was Patrick Hayes, who created this organization, and there he is, very young man. And my mother was Evelyn Swarthout Hayes, pianist, concert pianist, university professor, and so forth. So I grew up with ISPA, and I grew up in a family of music and musicians and performers and surrounded by the same. And I was so lucky because at a very young age, I was able to go to performances, but go to rehearsals and go to orchestra warm-ups and meet the artists who were friends of my father because my father adored and revered artists and had a wonderful working relationship with them forever. So I lived a childhood that I call magical, and I knew it was magic, but it happened a lot. It happened really quite a lot. And at a certain age, I started coming to New York with my parents for ISPA, which was very exciting because if you're a young person and you don't live in New York and you come to New York, and in this kind of gathering, wow. So thank you, ISPA, for being here. And I'd like to say one thing. It takes a village. It takes a brilliant board of directors, devoted, and then it takes one person to have the energy and the courage to lead, to take the risk of decision-making. And may I offer a round of applause for our fearless leader, David Bale. He is modestly, I think, standing in the wings, but he will have heard that for sure, for sure, for sure. Now, please don't think that I can be objective talking about my father, because he was quite a remarkable man. So, as I don't want to wallow in nostalgia, I went to the website of the Washington Performing Arts, and Jenny Billfield, if she is here, made. All right, so Jenny is a brilliant woman. Many of you know her. And she is the successor of Doug Wheeler, who isn't here, who was the successor of my father. And Washington Performing Arts Society, now Washington Performing Arts, is an organization that had, now, third leader, but each one over a long period of time, which means whatever it means. But in any case, it is true that Patrick Hayes championed social justice, women fought desegregation, and so forth and so on. If you're interested in knowing more, the website, Washington Performing Arts, has a wonderful biography. It reminded me of all kinds of things that I hadn't really forgotten, but revived in my memory. And I can talk to you for hours about them, but that's not why we're here. We're here for the awards ceremony. Let's call it the awards celebration. He used to say constantly, why just live each day? Why don't we just celebrate every day? And that was his personality. Mm-hmm. A few people here know what a showman he was. As a person, he was so easy on his feet and on the limelight. But the minute, yes, pretty much the minute a law in this country was passed allowing for institutions called nonprofit institutions to be created. The Hayes Concert Bureau, which was a tiny little office in Campbell Music store on the second floor on G Street in Washington, D.C., became Washington Performing Arts Society, and indeed it was one of the very first, because he said, as I'm sure many of you say, the institution is more important than the single individual. It's not about me. The institution will outlive and live beyond all that we're doing and want to do. And it was about ideas, and it was indeed about including everybody in, nobody out. Those are words, right? And words matter a great deal. But if they're just words on paper or on an etiquette, that doesn't mean very much. So it's all about bringing them to life and living them. That's what this organization is all about. And 75 years later, I remember when in that tiny little office, Campbell Music Company, there was an even smaller box office on the ground floor because, of course, we're talking about paper tickets. And I remember Grace, the lady who worked there, and on her 36th birthday, my father congratulated her and she said, "Mr. Hayes, after 35, it's all downhill." Well, ISPA at 75 is going strong and clearly moving forward. And there's some remarks in one of the nominating statements about one of the artists. Everything here, and all of you, all of us here, personal contact, establishing trust, broadening circuits of communication. This is proof that at 75, we're not going downhill. I think we can say that. Now, I think, up there we are. I told David and Ryan that I was going to keep an eye on the clock because I come from a family of big talkers. And I was younger than my brother. It took me a while to catch up, but as they fondly said afterwards, when she started, she never stopped. So I have invited them to come out with a sledgehammer and stop me if I go overboard. Let's move on to the celebration, to the awards for the extraordinary artists and colleagues that we are recognizing today. And I'm going to look at a piece of paper because we've just made a slight change in the order. And of course, I'm not finding, oh, here we go. First award, and isn't this a wonderful name, an idea for an award? The Angel Award. The Angel Award is presented to an individual or organization which has demonstrated a significant and lasting contribution to the support of the performing arts and which transcends boundaries of one country or institution and merits international recognition. This achievement may be through outstanding leadership, advocacy, philanthropy, innovation, scholarship, or curatorship. The nominating statement reads as follows. I believe that this festival in Sibiu, under the leadership of Constantin Chiriac, is deserving of the award for its visionary courage, ambition, and for the social impact it makes through its work. I would like to invite Alicia Adams, board chair, to join us on the stage.
Now for the first award, Constantin Chiriac. Constantin Chiriac has been a force in the arts world and in the medieval city of Sibiu, Romania, and over the past 30 years has changed its course to become one of Europe's cultural capitals. The mayor of Sibiu describes the festival as our open gate to the world, building bridges to other cultures and bringing the culture of other communities to Sibiu, proving that diversity can unite when people open their minds and their hearts. The festival has grown, as well as the city, to become a place to be, especially when the festival is on. The president of Romania this year stated, as the festival celebrated its 30th anniversary, that the festival exists, and I quote, "The festival exists as an expression of our humanity and a statement of the power of the arts to save the world." He goes on to say, and I quote, "The Sibiu Festival of the Arts is a complex ensemble of artistic, educational, and entrepreneurial events which illustrate the values and aspirations of the democratic Romanian society, the fulfillment of our nation's dream for the past 3 decades." I'm reminded of Barmouthi's words the other day when he posed the question, how many artists does it take to make a city great? Artists and art create value which is transformative to any place that they go. I met Constantin just before the pandemic at ISPA. He met me to talk about the festival and possible collaborations in the future. I must admit, I was not aware of the Sibiu Festival and was fascinated to learn about all that happens, from the performances to workshops to education programs, all of it, all over the city. I was invited to come and participate first virtually during the pandemic, and then in person this past summer. The festival involves the local community in a dynamic way to participate and always necessary to make it work. I was really stunned and wowed by the city and what was going on in terms of the festival. Sibiu, what an extraordinary place in the world. And the festival has put on some of the greatest theatrical work in the world with great artists. Sibiu is in Transylvania, and all I could think about was Dracula. But it's not about Dracula at all, and this is not where the Dracula castle is. This is a very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful landscape. Constantin describes the festival quite poetically, and I quote, "The history of the festival is a history of essential encounters, of creation, of love, of God, of sacrifice, of salvation. Over these past 30 years, Constantin has given it his all to create a masterpiece." Constantin Chiriac, acclaimed Romanian actor and the founder and president of the Sibiu International Festival. He played a decisive role in obtaining the Sibiu European Capital of Culture in 2007. He's received the 2014 Aspen Institute Award for contribution to Romanian cultural patrimony. He is an officer of the Order of the Belgian Crown and an honorary tourism ambassador. He has a National Order of Merit and an officer of the Order of Cultural Merit from the Grand Duke of Luxembourg. And now, Constantin, you could become an angel. So please, Constantin, please join me on the stage. We are proud to present this year's Angel Award to Constantin Chiriac.
Wow. Thank you. Congratulations. Let me sell you my dreams. Take these dreams for whatever you want to pay me. I want money. I need money in order to buy the time to get the things that money will not buy. I started 30 years ago the festival in Sibiu thinking like that. Not money is doing something important for the community. The most important is the vision. Is to think about the future of our spectators. Imagine I started the festival with 3 countries and 8 shows. And this year there was 821 countries with these shows in 82 different venues, with around 100,000 people as physical spectators, and some millions on the digital stage. In these 30 years, we learn what means the spectators. Even in the pandemic period, developing the Walk of Fame as in Hollywood, I asked for all the big names to send to us what they produced in the last years. Not for nothing, but for few money. And I did only one digital stage in a festival in the world. Imagine in 2020 there was 83 million spectators from all over the world joining us for the reason what we are doing, the spectators. So I'm here to thank for this unbelievable association, for your father, for this extraordinary dialogue, for Alicia, for David, for everybody, because I learned coming in this country what means to spend the money to do something good really for the communities. Imagine Sibiu, and I know what I'm saying. I was 4 years the president of the jury for the European Commission for Culture Capitals. And the first question of mine for each mayor was, what is your budget for culture? And all the time I heard 0 some point, 1 maximum. Sibiu has 14% of the budget for culture. And this was cause of the culture capital of Europe that we achieved. And what it is really very important, we are bringing back, because of the culture agenda that we developed in the city and in the region, 4% plus. So we are bringing back 18% each year. We gave for Romania the president of Romania. The former mayor of Sibiu became the president of Romania because of the visibility that we brought. We have the biggest program of volunteering. We are working, and you remember how beautiful girls there was with you in Sibiu, taking care for the program. Imagine to have the young generation, to have in the middle of the festival what A-pop is doing from tomorrow here in America. We are doing the culture market in the middle of the festival. We are doing also a platform of universities in the middle of the festival. 47 universities, we are working together with them all around the world. I'm producing each year from 2017 in Tokyo Metropolitan a co-production. We are working with Théâtre de la Ville each year for a new co-production. So we are trying to have partners all around the world. And I think this is the most important thing, to have new creativity, to discover new artists. And I'm very glad that ISPA will go also in Australia, because we have strategic partnerships there. Thank you for all, and I'll finish with a poem that I think it's really important. It's an American poem. The poet on whose bosom a committee hung a medal to say to the world, here is a champion heavyweight poet. He flings his medal far out on the sea bosom. And why not? Has anybody ever given the ocean a medal? One of the early poets, having one lead pencil to spare, wrote, I am credulous about the destiny of man. And I believe more than I ever proved in the future of the human race, in the importance of illusions, the value of great expectations. I would like to be, in the same moment, an earthworm, which I am, and a rider to the moon, which I am. So, 21 of June, 30 of June, Civil Festival. Oh, so good.
Extraordinary. That is a gentleman who is very much at ease on his feet in front of our crowd. I am in admiration. We move on to the International Citation of Merit, another very grand name for an award, deservedly so. The International Citation of Merit, which is sponsored by Anne Summers Docena in tribute to Joe Golden. The International Citation of Merit is presented for unique lifetime achievement, which has enriched the international performing arts. This award is not for performance, but rather for distinguished service working within the profession. Recipients may be a past or current member of ISPA. The nominating statement reads as follows. Cathy Boyd's career exemplifies a commitment to global exchange following 15 years of touring her unique visual musicals, in addition to staging work for many other international institutions. I invite Howard Zhang to come to the stage.
Thank you very much. Well, to the esteemed members of ISPA, distinguished guests, and lovers of the performing arts, it is with great honor and admiration that we gather here today to celebrate the exceptional Cathy Boyd, a trailblazer and visionary in the realm of the performing arts. Cathy is not only the recipient of the International Citation of Merit from ISPA, but she's also a beacon of inspiration for all who strive for excellence in the field. Cathy Boyd, an Irish luminary, exemplifies the spirit of this award through her remarkable 30-year career in the arts, leaving an indelible mark on the global stage. Cathy's journey in the arts began as a stage director for opera, visual music, and film, amassing an impressive 20 years of experience. Her creative endeavors took her across borders and continents with numerous international commissions presented in over 25 countries, from the peak performances of Montclair, USA, to the Singapore Arts Festival, the Latvian National Opera, and the prestigious venues like the Muziekgebouw in Amsterdam, and of course, the South Bank Centre in London. In 1994, Cathy founded Cryptic with a bold vision to create innovative performance that would ravish the senses. This visionary undertaking not only transformed Cryptic into a producing art house, but also positioned it as a platform dedicated to nurturing the next generation of Scottish and international artists. Cathy's commitment to innovation and excellence has been instrumental in shaping the landscape of contemporary performing arts. One of her crowning achievements in the establishment is the biennial citywide Sonica Glasgow Festival in 2012. This groundbreaking initiative was conceived to present sonic arts for the visually minded, showcasing the convergence of sound and visual arts. Through Sonica, Cathy has created a space for artists to push boundaries and captivate audiences in new and immersive ways. Cathy Boyd's accolades are as diverse as her contributions to the arts, from the Creative Programming Award for Sonica to the prestigious Nesta Fellowship. She has garnered recognition for her outstanding achievements. Her impact extends beyond the artistic realm, earning her the European Woman of Achievement for the Arts, the Outstanding Young Persons Award from the Junior Chambers of Commerce and Edinburgh Fringe Festival First. As a testament to her commitment to the international performing arts community, Cathy served as the president of the board of the IETM, the International Network for Contemporary Performing Arts. Her leadership exemplifies dedication, fostering collaboration, and pushing the boundaries of artistic expression. In honoring Cathy Boyd today, we not only celebrate a lifetime of achievement, but also acknowledge her enduring legacy in shaping the future of the performing arts. She is a trailblazer, a visionary, and an ambassador for the transformative power of creativity. Congratulations, Cathy, on receiving the well-deserved International Citation of Merit, and thank you for enriching the global performing arts community with your passion, innovation, and unwavering commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, Cathy Boyd.
This is when Touch ID doesn't work. I'm extremely humbled and honoured to have been nominated for this award. I grew up in the Troubles in Northern Ireland, born in the 70s, and was adopted. I don't know anything about my parents, but what I do know is that nearly every adopted person is incredibly determined, and we don't like the word no for an answer. I was a child actress and precociously at 17 started directing. I moved to Glasgow during European Capital of Culture, 1990, and was seduced by a new world combining live music, visuals, actors, and where their language didn't matter. My senses were ravished. This inspired me to set up Cryptic, as no one was making the style of work which I wanted to make. So I began as a stage director, commissioning scores which were played live, mostly memorized on stage, always in collaboration with another country, and mostly hearing, "You'll never make it happen." Very quickly, I was toured by the British Council to Hungary, Latvia, East Germany, Latin America, Asia. I was very privileged to have this opportunity. After 20 years, I realized that I had to make way for the next generation. The artist in us never dies. We just find different ways to express our creativity. It's too easy for artistic directors to stay in the chair and to continue to do what they've done for years. But we need to be braver than that and to give opportunities to others. With Cryptic, I have worked in 30 countries, and my huge passion today is how to support artists from lesser-known regions, how to enable cultural exchange over many years, and to build trust. Maybe I was lucky to grow up in a civil war, as I knew no other way but to bring Protestants and Catholics together, a sign of peace. I've been fortunate enough to have worked in North Korea twice. I had meetings with the director of the Mass Games. That's 100,000 participants, for those of you who've never seen it. All was possible before the current sanctions. Last January, I was in Yangon meeting 24 Burmese artists, so couldn't be at ISPA. But I only mention these places as there are incredibly talented artists for us to discover. They are mostly self-taught and deserve an international career. But how? Backflip. Last October, I brought a 29-year-old artist to create real-time visuals for Monsoon Music Festival in Hanoi, Vietnam. Her audience was 5,000 nightly. Not bad for a beginner. But she would never have got that chance at home. And it's the classic, you have to make it abroad before you're recognized on your own turf. These opportunities are the things we can do to make a difference. It's not just about commissioning the big names or having a premiere. It's about giving opportunities to artists who really need it. This is a very privileged room of arts managers who can take risks that no one else can. Today, January 2024, I urge you to cast your net even wider. Challenge yourself, surprise your audiences. They will be nothing but delighted. Thank you, ISPA. I am extremely grateful to all of you for what you've given me, and a special thank you to Anthony Sargent. Thank you.
Just a little parenthesis. I live now in Palermo in Sicily. Come visit, it's beautiful. And I work at the Teatro Biondo, which is the official theater of the city. And there is a great wealth of artistic talent among young musicians, acrobats, dancers, actors. And there is an enormous exodus of those artists going abroad to find work and find more interesting work. So one of the projects of Pamela Villoresi, the remarkable woman who's the director of the theater, is to create works, eventually inviting a European, a director from elsewhere to come and to work with local artists and create a piece. And we have a piece now that just opened at the Théâtre de la Ville for 2 weeks. So I listen to every word like drops of gold because it's so very extraordinary what you're doing. Now, I will wallow in a bit of nostalgia because we come to the Patrick Hayes Award. And I'm so thrilled because of the awardees, the only one whom I know personally already before I walk on this stage is Marie-Lou Aleskie. So the Patrick Hayes Award, sponsored by Anne Summers-Docena. Patrick Hayes, founding president of the International Society for the Arts Foundation, was a change maker in our field. Inspired by his legacy, this award recognizes an ISPA member in any stage of their career who has demonstrated transformative leadership in the performing arts. Recipients may be recognized for innovation in any area of arts management. The nominating statement reads, Marie-Lou Aleskie is a visionary leader. Her leadership role at organizations in the United States is only matched by her commitment to mentoring young professionals in the performing arts. I welcome Benson Pua to the stage, past ISPA board chair.
Good afternoon. Surprise. Especially for Marie-Lou. Well, you know, her impressive contributions and achievements to the arts is well detailed in the ISPA Congress website, which I encourage you to download and read. The description is one of an extraordinary leader. I would like to share more about the person that I know. Those of us who have had the privilege to work with her hold her in deep admiration and respect. She is extremely generous with her time, to offer a listening ear, to mentor, and to be a friend. She's no pushover, though. Forthright, objective, and fair, you can always rely on her to find the best possible solutions and without stepping on toes that in my case, I would have already trampled on. She was invaluable steering the finances of ISPA when we were going through difficult times many, many years ago. It gave me great comfort, though, to know that I had in her a steady, reliable, and trustworthy ally. That we are here today is in no small part the result of the foundation that she helped lay. It is therefore an incredible honor for me to be here to pay tribute to you, Mary Lou, this year's Patrick Hayes Awardee, and the only person so far that's managed to get me out of retirement.
Wow, y'all got me. Benson, that was really amazing. Thank you. It is so humbling to be nominated for this award on this wonderful anniversary, to be handed it by Elisabeth, and to be introduced by Benson, the man who truly put the international in ISPA. Thank you, Benson. Thank you so much for opening those doors. I am so grateful to the ISPA board and the nominating committee and to all of you for your global service. A very special debt of gratitude to our tireless CEO, David Bale, and his incredible staff, past and present, and their dedicated stewardship of this really important and essential organization. I also, because this has been about family, I have to say I want to thank and recognize my families. In addition to my ISPA family, I want to thank all the artists, organizations, colleagues, boards, donors, and all those folks who have really supported me and helped me move forward throughout the years. And my speech just went away, but I'm going to find it again, I promise you, because I have it in many, many places. I'm really excited, actually, that I'm representing that group of people. Today in my heart is Cathy Edwards, who is currently working as the HOPS Senior Artistic Advisor. And my colleague, yes, you can clap for Cathy too. It'll give me time to find my speech again. And Joshua P. Cole, our executive producer and managing director, representing everyone from the Hopkins Center and Dartmouth College, who I have to say fervently supports arts and humanities, and that's why I'm there, and that's why we have hope in higher ed in the United States. I am going to take a second, just like Mark. Mark opened the door for me to be able to say I lost my notes, but I won't take that long, I promise.
During your research, I can add a little thing.
Okay.
As you search, I thought it was wonderful that you said Benson put the international into ISPA. After my father died, I remember reading in the obituary that someone said about him, Patrick Hayes was the man who put imp back into impresario. So again, this is a ceremony, it's a celebration. So let's keep the heart light.
So I can't help but talk about Patrick Hayes. Nobody in, everybody in, nobody out. And I will mention that the author of the famous book is sitting in the third row here, Ken Fisher. Let's give him a round of applause, too. Thank you for being here. These words were not only words, it was a life philosophy for the ISPA founder, Patrick Hayes, and it's really an honor to hold this award in his name. Imagine, though, not only the vision, but the courage it took to utter these words, given the context of Patrick's life and time. Post-World War II, in the mid-20th century was a time that saw a proliferation of formidable cultural institutions that inspired the establishment of our beloved network. Yet it was also a time when segregation was legal in the US and fervently practiced throughout the country, not just in the South. Not until the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was signed into law did it become illegal to exclude and segregate within our country. And we know that this one law by itself, hardly enough to overcome the hatred that's in racism, bigotry, and exclusion as segregation persists in many forms today. Yet Patrick's words stand at the center of our network and our work. And though founded among a small group of North American leaders, thanks to so many visionary members, past chairs, and Congress leaders, ISPA has expanded to this fabulous global network. To the point where today there's hardly a continent where you won't find an ISPA member willing to share wisdom, their experience, or offer a warm welcome when visiting. Moving forward in an uncertain world at a time of pervasive upheaval and chaos, what does everybody in, nobody out mean today? And even more importantly, what will it mean tomorrow? How do we cultivate and expand the monumental intentions expressed in this seemingly simple phrase? What are we even referring to when we say in and out? And who are we really talking about when we say everybody? For most of us, the in and out has referred to institutions, but we know that everybody in has not always included in our processes, in our decision-making, in equitable distribution of resources, governance structures, or business models. In an effort to be broadly useful while also remaining economically viable, our institutions seem to have gravitated from their established purposes to educate and serve to entities that we serve, often in the hopes of mere survival. As we move through these complex times, should we not work to align institutions as tools for societal change and advancing the human condition rather than as products themselves to sustain? Perhaps our legacy this century can be people-centered, especially for people who have not been in historically. And I have to say, this Congress reassures me that we're heading in the right direction. Perhaps we can turn fear of failure into hope for new pathways and horizons, leading to well-being for everybody. And everybody's in on all of it, especially the how we get there. You're all doing such amazing work and under amazing circumstances. It's so humbling to be part of this ISPA family. So much has changed over 75 years. So many new people and perspectives are in the room with a depth of experience and authentically global views. And yet there's so much more to do. I'm confident that the spirit, wisdom, and generosity of this ISPA community has the vision and tenacity to continue to make the changes, realign the priorities we so desperately need, and look forward together to our collective actions, accepting universal responsibility for the whole. I'm grateful for this recognition, but the true award is to have the opportunity to get up every day and do this work with all of you in solidarity for all people. Everybody in, nobody out. Forever a work in progress, fueled by empathy, courage, and love. Thank you, dear Patrick Hayes.
Not only could I never say it so well, I wouldn't even attempt. That was very deeply moving. And there were a lot of facts. It was, I keep saying, you know, I can't be objective, but there were a lot of objective facts in those comments. Thank you. And she beat me to it because I did want to say that there's a book with the title Everybody In, Nobody Out by the distinguished gentleman sitting right there, Ken Fisher. And I don't like the word obligatory, but don't miss that book. And if you want to know more about this story, he's the best storyteller in the world, after my father, who did a good job. Let's move on to the Distinguished Artist Award. In my various years of professional activity, I have really been blessed to be able to work with extraordinary creative artists and interpreters, composers, choreographers, and so forth, and interpreters. So while I have never met, until this moment, Tanya Leon, it's very, very exciting for me to be able to do so, thanks to ISPA. The Distinguished Artist Award, sponsored by Cathy Barbesh. Thank you. Distinguished Artist Award is presented to artists who have made an outstanding contribution of talent, artistry, dedication, and service to the world of the performing arts. The contributions of these award recipients have gone above and beyond their prowess as artists. The nominating statement reads, Tanya Leon describes her Pulitzer Prize-winning competition, Stride, as something that is pushing forward. Pushing forward also describes Tanya, a person and an artist who has been celebrated globally. She continues to leave a lasting legacy in the world of music and beyond. I invite Olga Garay English, board member and chair of the Advancement Committee, to join us on stage.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Olga Garay English, and I'm the director of the National Latinx Theater Initiative and a proud member of the ISPA board. It is my pleasure to introduce a fellow Cuban American, Tanya Leon, who is the recipient of ISPA's 75th Anniversary Distinguished Artist Award. Tanya's accomplishments are just too vast to be able to name them all, but I thought I'd give you a little taste. She's a composer, a conductor, and an educator who's recognized both in the United States and all over the world. Her impressive awards include receiving the 2021 Pulitzer Prize for her composition, Stride, which was commissioned by the New York Philharmonic. A founding member and first music director of Dance Theater of Harlem, in 2022, she was named a recipient of the 45th Annual Kennedy Center Honors for Lifetime Artistic Achievement. And there's so much more than that. Tanya has received honorary doctorate degrees from Colgate University, Oberlin, SUNY Purchase, and the Curtis Institute of Music. And she served as the U.S. Artistic Ambassador of American Culture in Madrid. She is the founder and artistic director of Composers Now, based here in New York City, whose aim is to try to give voice to composers, especially composers from communities that are have less access. In 1997, while I was the director of cultural affairs at Miami-Dade College, I had the pleasure to be a lead commissioner along with Miami Light Project, Arizona State University, and the New World Symphony, commissioning a new work from Tanya. The work was called Drummin', and it featured drummers from the diverse cultures of Miami. Cuba, Brazil, Haiti, the whole African continent, Native American, and even Japanese taiko. Other significant collaborators on that project include award-winning choreographer B.B. Miller and videographer Philip Mallory Jones. Interestingly, Drummond also featured 15 classically trained musicians from the New World Symphony, and I read some of the backstories as I was writing this, and they just kept saying they were in awe of the drummers that were involved and that, Tanya handpicked. Somehow, Tanya managed to highlight the uniqueness of each of these musical cultures while bringing them together in an outstanding synthesis of her musical vision. Before I call her to the stage, and we're going to hear part of a composition that she's written more recently called Horizon, I am just proud to say that mi hermana, Tania Leon, is here to accept ISPA's 75th Anniversary Distinguished Artist Award. Please join me.
Well, I am going to read something that I prepared. I was told between 2 and 3 minutes, so I even went to the internet to find out how many words were going to be 2 and 3 minutes. And then I get here, and I have been listening to these awardees, and my mouth dropped, because what am I going to say? Well, I am going to read what I have, and then when I get to a certain paragraph, I am going to improvise by telling you a little bit more of what is here. So this is what I prepared. I'm so honored and grateful to have been selected to receive the Distinguished Artist Award of the International Society for the Performing Arts. It means so much to me that the work that I am so passionate about also resonates with others and is being acknowledged in this manner. This accomplishment is not something that I did alone, and there are many others who deserve to share in this award. I would like to thank them for the support they offered me along the way. In particular, I would like to thank the spirit of my ancestors, led by my grandmother, that discovered my passion for music when I was 4 years old. My family, colleagues, friends, and the many mentors as Arthur Mitchell, founder of the Dance Theater of Harlem, who began inspiring and supporting my dreams within a year of my arrival in this nation. And this is where now I'm going to get off the script. I would like to tell you that I told my family when I was 9 years old that I was going to live in Paris. And it had to do with the fact that my teacher went there and gave a recital and sent me a postcard of the Eiffel Tower, telling me I'm bringing you new books and things like that. And I saw that, I don't know what happened to me. But since then, I took that postcard, which is with me here in New York, and I actually placed it next to my bed, next to the picture of Elvis Presley. So, of course, I told that to my family, and they look at me like, she's nuts. I mean, how would I leave Cuba, Havana? I was born in a family that was very poor. We were poor, but we were happy. Because all of us were dancers. I grew up at the conservatory learning to play the classics. However, on the weekends, hanging out with my friends, playing cha-cha-cha, dancing mambo, and doing everything, you know. I mean, it was like a jambalaya of everything. And my family, I can tell you, I mean, my grandmother started the Tania Leon project. But the thing is that by the time I was 5 years old, my grandfather, I don't know how he did this to this date. I still think he was nuts. And the thing is that he managed to bring into the house a second-hand piano, a real piano, when I was 5 years old. So they were in a hurry to actually create a culture and create an education for my brother and I, thinking of a dream that they had that they were not able to accomplish. One of the things that I want to honor them is this family was comprised of people that looked different. They were actually first generation of immigrants that came from different parts of the world. One was from Europe, from Asia, and from Africa. So I don't know why, but I think that that gave me the idea that the world was very different than the world that I found when I left Cuba. I was in a neighborhood where we all were poor, we all looked different, but I don't know, what we were lacking in material things and money, and we were rich in spirit. In a neighborhood where the next door lady knew that I love rice pudding. So she did rice pudding, she knocked at the door, and she had a little bit of rice pudding for me. Or my grandmother would do coffee and make sure that all of the people around had a little bit of the coffee that she made. So in other words, it was an upbringing that have facilitated for me to have that kind of attitude towards the arts and towards everything. Obviously, I left Cuba thinking I was going to Paris, and I end up in New York. It's a long story, and just, you know, I'm going to be brief. But when I came to New York, I didn't have 1 cent, I didn't know anybody, I didn't speak English. The only thing is that my friends, the ones that offered me a sofa, you know, where they lived in the Bronx, in 180th and Grand Concourse, they picked me up at the airport. And then when we entered the Bronx, I saw the buildings with the stairs, you know, the stairs to the fire. Yeah. And I started saying, Maria. And they said, what? I said, yeah, Maria, Maria. And so the thing is that, you know, of course, I mean, when we got to the house, you know, I explained to them that in Cuba I saw a clip of a musical called West Side Story, and that there was this man singing about this song. I didn't remember the song, but it was about Maria, and Maria, Maria. Well, the thing is that I didn't know that my destiny was going to change. I didn't know that one day I was going to actually replace someone in Harlem, and that this incredible looking man would actually get to me and sort of like invite me to be part of a project he had in mind. I didn't know who he was. He gave me a ticket to Lincoln Center, the first time I went to Lincoln Center. And I opened the program, his face was there. I look on stage, he was on stage, and that's how I found out who Arthur Mitchell was. So therefore, I mean, so it had been sort of like a Cinderella story. And the fact that I am talking to you here and learning more about your father, and learning more about this incredible organization, and learning more about where your hearts are placed. You know, I mean, that incredible performance of Constantin, I mean, that energy, I mean, so, and the passion that you had, and I mean, everybody, I mean, it's like I am in awe, because I didn't know you. However, I knew you. You see, it's that kind of thing that is so common among the people that have the same heart. We all have the same heart. Sometimes the hearts get confused, but, I find your heart here, and that is what is actually touching me profoundly. So I don't have that much to say. The thing is that I thought I was going to be a classical pianist. That's how I arrived. I turned into a composer and a conductor. I thought I was going to live in Paris. I live in New York. I mean, but there is a good catch, though. In 1977, I was conducting the Wiz on Broadway. And then I decided to apply to Tanglewood. And I was actually given the opportunity to go to Tanglewood. And what happened at Tanglewood, I was to receive coaching as a conductor. And who was the person that was coaching me? The composer of Maria. You have to understand, I told Lenny, we call him Lenny, Leonard Bernstein. I told him the story of Maria. He laughed like you crazy. And since then, until he left the world, we were very close. And he was one of those mentors that I could actually mention. It's a long list, women, men, people from different parts of the world. I have been blessed. And I want to pass those blessings to this organization and to you, the continuation of the work of your father, and all of the members and the trustees and the CEO and all of the people that I'm meeting today. And just to say at the end is, again, thank you to the International Society for the Performing Arts, its trustees, directors, members, for this distinction. And I hope that this recognition of my work can serve as an inspiration to others in the field. Thank you.
I imagine you share my sense of awe and wonder. Basically, I think my biggest accomplishment was winning the jackpot for the lottery of the best parents ever, and being born into a family that, I said it before, was magic. And the next award, and I say that because I think Patrick Hayes would be just the word emerging Leaders Award. The Emerging Leaders Award, sponsored by Threshold Acoustics. The Emerging Leaders Award celebrates creative and evolving practice in any aspect of the performing arts, including presenting, touring, artist management, and creative producing. ISPA members, as well as employees of ISPA members, are eligible to be nominated. The nominating statement reads as follows. Denisse Flores will be an emerging arts leader throughout her career, both by her nature of constant exploration and as a tireless promoter of Latin American culture. Her work exhibits continued curiosity and desire to explore and expand international partnerships. And I invite Alfonso Leal de Ojo, Vice Chair and Chair of the Fellowship Committee, to join us.
I'm really delighted to be here with you all to present this award that celebrates the work of emerging leaders in our sector. My name is Alfonso Leal del Ojo Chamorro, and I'm Chief Executive of the English Concert, which is an orchestra based in London. I'm Vice Chair of the ISPA board, and also Chair of the Fellowship Committee. During my time chairing the Fellowship Committee, I've seen a breadth of talent, ambition, and in many cases, true resilience that has been truly humbling. Mid-career art leaders committed to bringing connection and to a journey of enhancing the human spirit through the performing arts. Denisse Flores Somarriba is one of these people that exemplifies many of the qualities that make a great leader fully committed to this journey. Denisse leads the University of Guadalajara Culture, Innovation and Connection Unit. Isn't that a cool title? I wish I had something like that. And during her time there, she has been instrumental in developing connections with the student community, as well as fostering international collaborations for Guadalajaran artists. She has significantly shaped Mexico's cultural landscape and increased its international impact, contributing to a wide array of projects in Guadalajara, like the International Book Fair and the International Film Festival. But has also had, has also had a significant role in the wider Latin American art scene, working with the Bogotá Ibero-American Theatre Festival, Circulart in Medellin, also in Colombia, and the Pan American Games in Sao Paulo. Denisse has been an ISPA member for 13 years, and she has played a pivotal role with us as well, including spearheading the 2019 Media Congress in Guadalajara. I wasn't there, but I still hear stories about that Congress and how epic it was. If you were there, I say no more. I can't think of anyone more deserving of this award than Denisse. Please, congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's very difficult to follow up on all those inspirational speeches. So anyway, and I know that it's a little bit late and you all want to go to the party, so I won't be brief because I have a very, nah, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so hola todos. Thank you. It is a very special moment for me. Thank you, ISPA, for this recognition. I'm very humble to be honored to receive this award alongside colleagues and friends that I love and admire so much. Thank you, ISPA, for 75 years of creating bridges and overcoming barriers worldwide. Gracias, ISPA, por tanto. For me, this is a particular year to receive this recognition after one of my mentors and one of Mexico's most visionary leaders in the arts and culture passed away in April 2023. Gracias, Raúl Padilla, por todo y por tanto. His vision of a public Mexican university with a strong commitment to arts will be a lifetime inspiration to all of us. Fortunately, there are many friends and mentors around this room, and friends and mentors that I have had for a long time, and I have created also in ISPA. One in particularly, you might know, Igor Lozada. Thank you for making me part of your journey at UDG and other spheres, and also becoming part of my family. As Alonso said, I've been attending ISPA for quite a while now, and I have had the honor to help the University of Guadalajara host the ISPA Congress in 2019. So I feel a very strong bond to ISPA. It's very clear to me that we never emerge alone, talking about emergent. We never emerge alone. Thank you to so many friends that have opened the way before me and with me. Lots of names. Thank you, Maria Claudia, who couldn't come, Claudia Toni, Aurea, Ricardo Kugler, Joe Randall, Martín, Agustina, Olga, Shoshana, Ireri, Sergio, Adán, Pilar Liebanos, Alan Moon, and thank you to David Vale, Nora, Mara, and so many others. Gracias, gracias, gracias. Finally, I just want to thank the University of Guadalajara for its continued support for promoting the arts and culture in the Western Mexico and internationally. And thank you to my family for always supporting me. I could do nothing without you. I think leaders always look for burning questions and gather people around solutions, leaving marks on institutions and in the world. Thank you, ISPA, for always fostering leadership. And thank you all for making this, as Gavin said, your January ritual, where we can always keep asking us these burning questions. Gracias.
And we now arrive at the last of the awards. I'm going to hold the podium for a minute, because this one takes my breath away, but it also inspires me so very deeply. It's difficult for me to articulate carefully. Perhaps I'm not the only person in this room who often feels overwhelmed by the challenges of our planet being so menaced and so threatened. And I say to myself, how many times a day, but what can I do about it? And we know the little things like separating the trash and not throwing things on the ground. But here's a young man, I'm going to call him a young gentleman, who has a lot to teach us, just by example. The Celebrate Our Planet Award, sponsored by National Latinx Theater Initiative. The Celebrating Our Planet Award recognizes excellence and/or innovation with respect to the performing arts and/or touring the performing arts in a climate-friendly, sustainable manner. This new award recognizes the initiative or initiatives of an ISPA member or a member of the community as a whole. The nominating statement reads, despite his young age, I've been told he's 8 years old, Aneeshwar is a determined advocate on his mission to combat environmental degradation. Through his journey, he continues to inspire young and old minds to appreciate nature and contribute to its preservation through the arts. We have a video that's going to show us a little bit of his work, and then I will invite Judy Harqual and Shoshana Polanco, co-chairs Program Committee, to come to the stage.
My name is Aneeshwar Kunchala, and I'm a conservationist from the UK, and I'm 8 years old, and I love the planet because of every single thing in it. It all started when I seen a picture of a dead whale dying from plastic. My reception teacher showed it, called Miss Parsons, and it really changed my life ever since I was 4 years old. And I really remember that emotion I was in when I seen it. I was sorry for that whale because we made plastic and we need to try and prevent those beautiful whales from dying. So I believe we need to save our animals and make sure our earth looks beautiful. My work towards the nature is my paintings, my keynote speeches, litter picking, nature talks, documentaries, and last but not least, my poems, which all help in different ways. Like the litter picking helps by just showing that we can all clean up our community, and litter picking is one of the simple things we can do which give a big impact, and paintings which show beautiful creatures, which, like some creatures which are really disliked, like spiders, for example. When we actually see them in a painting, they look beautiful, and that's what I love about paintings. They are showing beautiful animals up close. And these are ways you can help to save the planet through sustainable living and reduce your food waste. Plant many more trees. Use renewable energy, pollution-free travel, just like walking, scootering, or biking. Understand nature so we can help save our planet and save soil, because our soil is the bottom of the food chain. And if we lose our soil, we lose everything. This is what I'd love to do in the future. Be a conservationist and a scientist who studies fossils, meet and film with Sir David Attenborough, inspire many more children, travel around the world and show the beauty about our beautiful wildlife, and go to the Amazon. Thank you so much for giving me this amazing opportunity to spread awareness about saving our planet even more. And I really appreciate it, because every little bit helps a lot.
Judy. Hello, friends. Shoshana and I want to acknowledge that today we're joining you from the lands of the Lenape people. We want to pay our respects to elders past, present, and future. So today we're here to honor 8-year-old Aneeshwar Kunchala, an activist, conservationist, artist, and poet from the UK. So yesterday, we were having this great conversation in the room about generational divide. And I think you probably all remember at some point, we were asked, okay, let's identify what generations were. So we went through the generations, and we came to Alpha generation, and there was no one here from Alpha generation. So who knew that today, we'd be standing on the stage about to honor somebody from the Alpha generation?
I was just looking at Aneeshwar's work in his website. I encourage all of you to take a look at his website. You can see his documentaries, his collaborations with BBC, his written articles, his beautiful poems, his beautiful art. And what I am really excited about is what is he going to be doing the next 3 years as the Kennedy Center's first ever youth ambassador for the arts and the environment. Please, Aneeshwar, come to the stage.
Hello everyone. I just want to say a big thank you to you all for making this happen. I wouldn't be here if all of you wouldn't be here as well. And I want to tell a few words about a bond with the world, bond with nature. So I really hope you enjoy this poem. As you all know, I'm Aneeshwar, and I love exploring the world. The more I learn about the animals, one big question keeps running in my mind. Is our bond with nature strong enough? It's mostly due to the lack of bond. We end up destroying anything and everything along the way. Have you ever seen the majestic osprey's flight, ready to catch a yummy fish? This sight was nearly lost in some places I know, and I don't want that to happen to where you live with your most iconic animal. The climate change is affecting some really endangered species, like a snail, which is on the brink of extinction. These animals are confused when you should eat and when they should sleep due to climate change, which is changing the heat of our Earth right this second. It has become our prime responsibility to conserve our natural world. Otherwise, the changing climate could affect the lives of animals and plants forever for the worst. What's a better place than schools and offices to encourage children and adults to form strong bonds with nature. Sometimes the solution is simple but powerful. Think how our world could be changing in someone's eyes, making them think differently about a bird, a mammal, a fish, or a tree. My personal experience with going out into the local park isn't just going on the swings or the slides or even playing with the other children. It's seeing the dandelions grow. It's seeing the little birds like robins and the very occasional goldcrests dart and make aerial displays. Like saying, "Hello, Aneeshwar, I hope you're having a good day." And that really changes my time. My garden used to be barren, without a single tree in sight. But we totally changed that to have over 50 species of plants and animals. If we can do this in my tiny garden, which is barely a pinhead to our world, why can't we do this to the whole globe? What I dream is children leading wildlife documentaries. Can you make this happen? Because us children are more connected into the natural world, and we can show you the world through our eyes. We can help to inspire the children who are watching, listening, and reading to all be conservationists too. I hope we all have the greatest bond we ever had with the nature and stand strong on the side of the nature in the fight against climate change. So who's with me? Thank you, everyone.
Thank heaven this is the last day and the last event, apart from a party that comes now, because what could come after that? Talk about being inspired and energized. And personally, I felt it with every single speaker today and every panel from the beginning. When Muriel Miguel was here the first day and she talked about her elders and ancestors, and it was so touching. And then she told us that somebody in the back of the room said, "Who are you?" Well, ISPA is the child of an idea, and it's going strong at 75. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to the organization, to David Bale, to the board of directors, to every person in this room. I think I see myself as a craftsperson. I hope I can use that word, craftsman. Now, don't forget, the celebration continues in the form of a party, so celebration with glass in hand, or glasses in hand, at Versa this afternoon. Before, we would like to invite all of the awardees back to the stage for the moment for a photo opportunity of all of you together. Thank you for your time, your energy, your inspiration. It's personally, as far as I'm concerned, it's been illuminating, it's been touching and moving. I can't thank you all enough. Thank you. Happy birthday, ISPA.